recording to, should be recording to the cloud. There we go. And you are good to let people in whenever you're ready.
Okay, can we test screen share?
Yeah, totally can test screen share.
Okay, you see my
Yep, sure do.
presentation? All right.
All right. Awesome. I can let some people in if that feels okay to you.
Yep, that works. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'll just give everybody a few more minutes to join in. I think we're still admitting people. If we wanted to, in the chat, you could put your name and where you're from so that we can all see where everybody who's in the space, where everybody's working. I think that's fun. And then I think we're gonna get started. We only have an hour. I would rather have like 4 hours. I think that would be way more fun to spend the afternoon talking shop. But I'm just gonna go ahead and get started so that we can make the most of our time. I have just a quick presentation. What I am interested in learning about from all of you is what kind of technologies you have in your spaces and how are you using them. So that's sort of the way I put together this quick presentation, where it's just sort of a snapshot of what we do here at Penn State and Petit Library, and what kind of technology we use, how we're using it, and then sort of just the last slide is going to be kind of maybe discussion points where we talk about how our services are running, what are some problems we've been encountering, and how are we going about kind of getting past those roadblocks. So I think I will just get started here. So I'm coming to you from, I'm Nicole Singolani, by the way. My title is Media Commons Coordinator. So I work in a team called Teaching and Learning with Technology. It's TLT for short. And my group, we run 3 different services. It's all the same people with 3 services: Media Commons, where we teach multimedia workshops and consult with faculty on their multimedia assignments. So anything from podcasting to video editing, infographics and beyond. And then we have the Immersive Experiences Lab, which we delve into virtual reality, augmented reality, 360 video, and beyond. And then our third service, Maker Commons, which is our makerspace that we have here in Petit Library. So that's what I'm going to talk to you today about. And so I wanted to just start off with a photo. This is one of our primary maker spaces in Petit Library. This is a student that came in to work on a project. They're using a Cricut smart cutter. And behind them is a Dreambox organizer that was really invaluable for allowing us to have smart cutter devices in that space. It's really, there's a lot of accessories that go along with it and a lot of different materials that can be cut with it. And so that's called a Dreambox. It's from Create Room is the company that has those. And it's just a really great way of keeping everything straight because there's just so many tiny pieces and parts that go along with that. And just first, I want to talk about the physical technology in our space. I wanted to, what I like to do when I talk to other people from other universities, like I wish I could just take a snapshot of what they're thinking about in their brain. So I just went ahead and did that for you guys. Here's a list of like all of the things we do with physical making, the technology we have, and then who makes it or where we got it. So you're welcome to take screenshots or do whatever you'd like with this list. And I'm always available if anybody wants to talk about any of the technologies I go through today at a different time. I'd love to have conversations about that. So it's our library space is, you know, a quiet space. Typically, there are some a bunch of collaborative rooms where people can work together in teams. So we tried to think about what technology could we bring into a library space that doesn't require a sink. We don't have a sink here. We have sinks in the bathroom, in the restrooms that we use, and doesn't require heavy lifts as far as like hoods, things like that. We did for the 3D printing farm, we do have it was a retrofitted hood and and I have a photo of it coming up. And like a glass enclosure that was built around that when they put those in. So that is one accommodation that was made for that space. But everything else is something that we brought in that can be used in a traditional library setting. And you do need room, of course, but something that could be brought into a place that's typically quiet. Typically people are studying and doing those sorts of activities. So we've got 2 sewing machines. I consulted with the School of Theater, the costume design department, on which sewing machines to get, which ones can be beat on. And so that we came up with a Singer, and they're really simple to use too, just very simple sewing machines that just get the job done. And then all of the accessories that go along with that. Like I mentioned, our 3D printing farm, we have 30 Dremel 3D 45s, and this is our second life cycle renewal with this model. They do a good job for us. We do about 6,000 to 7,000 prints a semester, and they've been holding up really well. We have I think we have 3 Cricut makers now. Students will come in, they're working on rapid prototyping for various classes. They can cut a variety of different materials, paper, vinyl, fabrics, thin cardboard. We've got mini controller kits. We work with Arduinos, Raspberry Pis, and we've got some different robotics activities and kits that we do. We've got the Spike Prime kits that Lego puts out are really great for, they're marketed for elementary, high school age students, but they're really, really great for college. And even we had an all-day event for faculty where we put them through a Lego robotics challenge. And it's even great for faculty, adult aged people as well. Little bits, which are little circuits, little pieces of circuitry that they're magnetized, they come together. You can create either some complex or simple circuits with those. You can program those as well. We've got 2 dye sublimation printers. So if you're not familiar with dye sublimation, you're taking, it's a printer that uses a special ink on special paper. Then you can take that printout and you apply heat and pressure to a polyester coated blank. And then you come out with, I don't know if you can see, you can make mugs. We made this for our program. You can make mouse pads, you can make t-shirts. If you've ever sent away to Shutterfly or for imprint, we can make those things in-house here in the library. We've got, we get hundreds of engineering design students that come to us with the assignment, make something cool. And so in response to that, usually we work with faculty to create assignments, but sometimes the students just get sent to us with an assignment that the faculty dreamed up. And so we have paper circuit kits that work really well for those really quick projects where we teach them how to make a circuit with conductive tape and LED lights, and they make a card. E-textile kits where we're applying circuitry with conductive thread to a variety of wearable projects. We've got the Arduino invention kits from Seed Studio. Those are really great. They come with all the parts you need, and they come with a book that tells you step by step how to build them. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out of Arduino programming. And then we have a few inkjet printers. We've recently set up a sticker printing kiosk where you can design your own sticker, print it out on the printers, and then cut it with the Cricut makers. And then a fleet of iPad Pros with LiDAR technology. We've been using those a lot recently for 3D scanning. That's been a lot of fun to create your own 3D models. And then we have actual high resolution 3D scanners as well. And then this is our photo of our print farm. This is the front side. There's a back side as well. We've been printing with these 3D 45s, I think, for 5 years. We had MakerBots before that, and we've used different colors of filament. It's all PLA printing. We print for not only the UP campus, but for all of the Commonwealth campus students as well. So that's a big endeavor. We ship out the prints through the library loaning system. So the books get driven in vans to all of the campuses. And so we put the 3D prints in those vans as well. This is a photo of our prototyping space that houses the invention kits, the little bits, the rack in the back there. We have got the Lego robotics kits in the foreground, and then the iPad cart that's constantly keeping the iPads charged on the right there. And then this is a list. It's not comprehensive, but this is the most widely used digital technology that we support. So I thought it'd be nice to have a list of the software that we use most frequently in prototyping. Adobe XD we've been using in a few different ways. Faculty have come to us. They want to create these interactive projects. They want an interactive storybook. They want to create an interactive menu, or what would the newspapers of the future look like? So those are some of the assignments we've been, students have been given where we're using XD to help support those. Adobe Express, we are an Adobe school, so we partner with Adobe, and all of our students, faculty, and staff have access to all of their products for free. So we do use those quite frequently. Adobe Express for graphic design, it's a really, really great introductory level design software. It's just, it still blows my mind how great that product is for creating really quick posters, social media posts, just really anything you can think of. It's really great. The old standby is Illustrator and Photoshop. And we use Tinkercad. If you're not familiar with Tinkercad, which you probably most of you are, but it's a free browser-based software. Those are both appealing because it's free, it's accessible to everyone, and then students can use it on their own devices as well. Design Space is Cricut's proprietary software, the Smart Cutter. And so that's what you use to create your projects there. Same goes for Creative Studio with the Sawgrass printer. That's the dye sublimation printer. And then we use, traditionally we've been using Adobe Dimension as part of our, we have a 3D modeling workshop. So you can apply shadows, you can apply light in different textures to 3D models. That's has been replaced with Substance apps. We just haven't dove in fully to those apps yet, but we will be using those in the future. And then we're also been exploring DALL-E, which is an AI text to image design software. It's browser based also, and it's free. It's really, really cool stuff coming out with AI. Like a lot of apps are being created, all kinds of buzz and things happening with that. And then this is an example, or this is a photo of where we're teaching our workshops. So we teach on-demand workshops for faculty, and they bring their students here to us in the library during their class time. So it's a 40-seat iMac lab, and we present from the middle of the room, and there are the five projectors come down. So anywhere you're seated, you can see what's going on. And they're also learning and doing it as we do it. So as we go through a podcasting workshop, they're doing it and creating it along with us. And then we have the immersive technology is also available here in Petit Library. We've been teaching augmented reality workshops using Adobe Aero with our iPad Pros. And then the virtual reality apps, it's not a comprehensive list, but these are the heavy hitters that we've been using in prototyping. So you've got Multibrush, Shapes XR, which is free currently, Gravity Sketch, which I believe is also free, and then Spatial, I think, is also free. Multibrush is the only one they started charging to use. So we've been getting entire classrooms of students into virtual reality headsets and then bringing them together in the same collaborative space in these apps. And it's been really, really interesting to see what kind of creations they came up with and how they use it. We're thinking a lot about how to present in VR. What does that look like? Working with some art education classes right now on that. And then this is just an example of one of our spaces where we're facilitating VR appointments. This is a small group that came in to explore. I think they were looking at Multibrush. And then I had this slide where I was thinking about what are the elements that I could think of that we've sort of formulated our service model on. So the things that are really important to us are scalability. So we need to, whatever idea we come up with, we need to make it something that can be accessible to all of the students across, not just University Park, but with an eye towards being able to put these out to the Commonwealth students as well. How do we create and maintain inclusive learning environments? A big part of how we're able to do what we do is our Maker in Residence program. We have student employees who help run the 3D printing service as well as the Makerspace and the prototyping service. Always looking at ways to make what we do more sustainable. We have been partnering with TerraCycle to recycle our 3D printing filament. And then I did want, a potential discussion point is funding. How is everyone funded? And how does that work? What are the pros, the cons? We are centrally supported by Penn State IT. We don't have to go out and apply for grants, which is great, but then we're also limited in some ways if we're not following up with certain trends that potentially would be a benefit to everybody at the university. And again, just making sure we continue to be accessible to students and provide services that are using software that are accessible to all students, regardless of what device they have to work with. So that's what I've got for you guys today. But I do want to just kind of open up the space to have a conversation about whatever anybody wants to talk about. I've got some comments here. Sorry, I wasn't looking at any of these while I was talking. Oh, we've got a good variety of people here too. When faculty send students over with an assignment they haven't discussed with you, do you follow up with them to make the integration more meaningful? It's definitely, yeah. So I didn't love the assignment, make something cool. Like what is the learning objective here? What outcome are you looking for? Having conversations like that with, it's an entire program of instructors. And so there is a lead who dictates what the assignments will be for that semester. So I emailed that person once these people started coming to make a connection there. How do you work with the accounts required for the VR headsets? That's a really good question. It's been very challenging to work with Meta, the headsets, because of the Facebook requirements. That's recently changed to Meta accounts, which you're no longer required a Facebook account. You are required to have a Meta account. And if students are not signed up for, I think somebody's unmuted. There, I got her. If someone doesn't have an account, that requires them to create an account here, and then they have to log in, and it takes like 10-15 minutes to even get somebody started in a headset. So we created virtual VR accounts for our headsets. So each group of our headsets is logged into that VR account. And sometimes, depending on the app, we also create accounts for the individual app. So we try to make it as painless as possible for the person trying it out for the first time. Try to remove those roadblocks and try to also make it the most efficient we can for ourselves too. It's challenging. We have about 125 headsets here at Penn State under my team, on my the fleet that my team manages, and those get shipped to different campuses like on a weekly basis. So it's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of fun. Maker in residence is different from a typical student employee in this space. So I talk to each student as I'm giving them their interview. I talk to them to find out what their background is like, what their major is, and what their interests are. And then I try to tailor their experience here at work to meet them where their interests are. So everybody gets trained in 3D printing, but then I ask them to think about, what technology are you really interested in that we have here, or something that you want to explore? And I give them, sometimes I give them projects if they can't think of one on their own. So some people like to be guided through a project, and some people like to come up with their own projects. So just about having a conversation with those students and finding out where they're at, what they want to do. Sometimes it's training them with another technology like the Cricut, and then they just take off. Sometimes they just need that little bit of kind of little confidence booster, just to show them that they can do it, and then they just take off and they go crazy and they make amazing things. So I don't think it's a typical job where you're showing up and just harvesting prints. You have your downtime where you can work on projects that you're interested in, and then it helps me it gives me talking points for faculty. So I can say, this is possible with this technology. This student made this skirt with our dye sub printer, or just different examples like that. And if anybody wants to chime in at any point in time, I'm just going to run through these questions, but I want us to have a conversation too. Yeah, the IT, Penn State IT provides our budget. The budget comes from the student activity fee. So all students pay an X amount of dollars towards computing and Penn State IT, and then we get a portion of that budget. Engagement activities we have used to get faculty to use technologies in our courses. So we had in September, we do this occasionally, it's not a frequent thing, but we as a group, we met over the summer and worked out, I think we had 6 different activities worked out. They were 2-hour-long sessions, and we had an all-day, we called it Make It, an all-day event where faculty could register and come and go through these sessions with us. The session I led was called, just for an example, 3D Alchemy, where we took, now this is, stay with me, it's going to sound crazy. We took Rice Krispie treats and marshmallows and butter, and I had them make a model, a physical model with Rice Krispie treats, and I had them build a stage. And so they worked together in groups, and there was candy too. We had candy as well. They built a physical stage, and then we took iPad Pros and we used Scaniverse, which is a free 3D scanning app. And they took scans of each other. They worked in pairs to scan each other. So they created 3D models themselves. And then we went to, Adobe has a product called Mixamo. It's free. It's a browser-based software. And I had them import the models into Mixamo, and you can animate yourself there. So there's about 200 different dance styles that you can do in Mixamo. So we rigged their characters to be able to dance. And then we exported that and imported it into Adobe Aero and created an augmented reality scene, a dance scene with the team. And so they're all dancing. And we imported a music file. So we put it to music. And then I had them do a screen capture of everyone dancing on their Rice Krispie treat stage. So I wanted the objective, the learning objective there was to take something, a traditional physical model. I really wanted that tactile experience. And then thinking about how you can then create a digital 3D model. So just taking it from different worlds, the physical to the digital, and then just taking it beyond reality, like augmenting the reality of putting yourself and playing with scale and putting yourself on a Rice Krispie treat stage and tying that all together. And I showed some examples of using augmented reality in the classroom. So how could you take like 2 flashcards that have 2 different elements on it and bring them together, and above them are little models of the molecule, and you bring it together and you can create 2 elements and create a molecule, and you can see that in augmented reality, like hovering above there. So that was a lot of fun. It was goofy. So that's just one example of something we've done with faculty. So I would love to hear from other people who'd like to share maybe some challenges that you face having maker spaces in a library, or what are some of like the big wins that you've had recently? Would anyone like to share?
I can start. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm at Miami University in Ohio. And I think my biggest challenge right now is just dealing with the huge volume of both users coming to use the space and also the large amount of instruction requests that I've started getting. Because like when I first started in 2019, it was a lot of I just was like doing crazy outreach to faculty, like trying to tell everybody that we were here and getting people on board. But now I feel like the word's kind of out there, and I'm getting like, for instance, I met with advisors from our business school, and they were interested in doing a maker project with their first year class, but it's like 600 students, you know, and like I'm like, like how do I deal with this? So if anybody has any like and it's like not really an option for us to get more staff right now because of budgetary issues. Like I'm trying to argue for it constantly by writing all my stats down and making reports every semester to try to show like the amount of work that myself and my team are doing. And I will say too, we have 14 student workers that help with running the Makerspace itself, but it's mostly the volume of instruction right now is really stressful. It's awesome. It's a good problem to have, I guess, but like any advice is greatly appreciated.
That's a good problem to, I mean, it's a good problem to have, but also I can relate to it being a stressful problem to have for sure. We just added most of this maker technology after the pandemic, and so we're just now getting back up to like pre-pandemic busyness. And then on top of that, we've added like all of this extra maker stuff too. And I find that you can teach a room full of people to edit a video, but it's harder to teach someone to use a device that you really need to be like facing and sort of like doing it while you're learning, right? So we don't have 40 crickets to be able to do that all at once. So we end up spending a lot of time with one-on-one support for those things. And it sounds like you've already explored the student resources. Have you potentially reached out to, I mean, student clubs? So sort of like as a, I don't want to call it a volunteer experience, but maybe it's an opportunity for student clubs to be able to do more, do some outreach, something like that.
Yeah, potentially. We've worked with some student clubs on like events, because we end up doing a lot of events, whether we plan them or we just get pulled into a lot of events because we're like, you know, let's show off the cool stuff in the makerspace. So we have worked with students in that way, but that's a good thought. See if they could help with some of the.
Yeah. And I've also worked with with faculty, there are a lot of internship requirements around campus where students are required to have an internship to graduate. And so there, at least here at Penn State, there's potential to design an internship program that wraps around a makerspace where their intern hours are they have to fulfill X, Y, and Z expectations, and they can earn those credits that way.
Possibly also if you have a college of education, a lot of times those students are looking for educational experiences. And if they can help with sessions like that, that might be advantageous, you know, for them.
I'm very, this is Lynn at UNC, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to turn on my camera right at the moment. I'm really curious because we started our AR/VR piece through grants, and those grants have pretty much run out. And we've tried to get faculty involved. We created a faculty learning community. We created a student group that has really taken off. I guess I'm curious as to how you got IT involved. Did they come to the library? Did you go to them to get this all started?
That is a good question. I have been in this position for about 2.5 years, so I have not been here from the start of when the relationship forms. I believe that teaching and learning with technology was always under the umbrella of Penn State IT. I could be wrong. So I'm actually not sure how that relationship formed. It's very interesting because it's such a large university. It's not like I have direct, easy access to getting for example, my computer's fixed quickly. So that's always a work in progress, that line of support. But financially, somehow they've worked out, that was worked out in the past. I'm not sure how that works or how that partnership was formed.
Just to ask one more question, is it an open area so that they can sign up for like time slots to come in and work in that space? And do you charge for any of your, I know here at UNC, I believe we don't charge for some things, but there are other things that we have to charge for. And I was just wondering about if you have that charge back type of setup.
We, yes, students make appointments with us. Right now it's an email system. I'm curious if anyone else uses a self-selective calendar system where students can sign up for their own, they can see the slots that are open and sign up for them. I'm curious what works better. The way we've been doing it, it's a lot of emails back and forth. And we don't charge for any of our services. So we do for 3D printing. Students start out with 25 print credits. They're free. It's free to print, but it's a way for us to keep our eyes on people the select few who will clog the system. So like one student might try to submit like 30, 40 prints in a row. So we're able to kind of like toggle that back, and they have to, if they want more credits, they have to email us and ask for more. So we're able to kind of keep people from jamming our system in that way. But whenever people ask for more, we just generally give them more. All of our materials that we have in-house are free, with the Cricut and the sewing and the dye sub. If people want to bring in their own materials, they can do that. We don't have t-shirts or things like that, so they can bring in their own supplies for that. And I usually tell students to ask me what to buy before they buy it, or to have a conversation about what they want to make, because they're often confused about what's good for dye sub and what's good for Cricut, and like what their final product will be, because I don't want people to spend money and then have to go buy something else. So I do ask them to have a conversation with one of us before they go out and buy stuff.
You mentioned the calendaring at UN. Do you have LibGuides or the Spring Share?
We
Because
use,
we've been using the LibCal, and it works pretty well for like our podcast studios and equipment loans.
we use LibCal internally, but we don't open up what we do in Maker Commons to students to be able to make their own appointments. We found it's hard because often people come and don't know what they need. And so we have a conversation about what they need. What are you wanting to use one of our rooms that has a microphone for an audio recording? Or do you need to use our video one button studio recording studio? They often don't even know. If you gave them the option on a form, they don't know what to pick. And so they end up coming in for one thing when really they needed this other thing. So I'm trying to figure out the best way, the most efficient way for everyone to get the time that they need in the right place that they need to be. Somebody uses Google Appointment Calendar, Sonia. And then you allow students to just kind of add their own time and they could change it if they need to. Is that how that works?
We actually set up workstations so a calendar for every workstation, and students, if they need to record a podcast, they can reserve the sound room, or if they want to use the Cricut, they can reserve it for a certain time frame. So
Okay.
it pops up on our calendar as a reservation, and they also get the confirmation on their email.
Good to know. I need to look into that.
For us, we have 2 podcast studios that we've put together that they're already set up with 4 mics and a Rotocaster. And so they just bring in their laptops and can connect into the Rotocaster to record. And so we've set it up so they can reserve about 2 hours at a time to work on their podcast. And it's worked pretty well. Although we did have one professor who didn't come see us, and the students kept checking out our Yeti Nanos. And we kept saying, you don't need to do that. There's a mic in there. So
Yeah.
we did get back to that professor. So we did get him straightened out.
We have an in-house reservation system, and it's a little clunky, but it has worked for quite a few years. But we're going to be switching to LibCal next semester. But we require an orientation to be taken for just about everything that is reservable. So like the video studios and the audio studios and the extended reality studios and the laser cutter and the 3D printers and the sewing machines and the embroidery machines, the CNC. And our student workers lead the orientations. They take about an hour. And once the orientation is complete, those that attended get put in. We use Alma as our integrated library system, and a note gets added to their Alma record that shows that they've completed the orientation. Then they're able to reserve the equipment, and they know which equipment they want to reserve because they've gone to the orientation, and they can reserve it at their convenience if it's available.
I like that idea. Is that a remote orientation? Is it virtual or is it
No,
it's in person?
It's on site. It's right. I mean, it's on site. We don't teach people how to, create designs or how to create podcasts. We teach them how not to break our equipment. So, with a laser cutter, with a CNC, with the 3D printers, they have to be there. They have to see the machine. They have to touch it and know, what needs to be done. Because otherwise we'd have to be repairing things all the time. The embroidery machine is
Ooh, I'm jealous. I want one of those.
people get the threads mixed up between the sewing machine and the embroidery machine. And
Yeah.
But yeah, the
I-
orientation thing has really worked for us. There's a level of assurance that we know that they should be using it properly, and also it makes it easy for them to be able to reserve one of those machines for themselves or a room.
Okay,
So when
cool.
they check out if they reserved and checked out a audio studio, and I don't want to call it a podcast studio because I envisioned music being done in there too, but I swear it's like everybody's a podcaster. But everything is in the room. They don't need to check anything else out. So they reserve the room and they're taught on what to use when they go in the room. So there's different mics, there's different equipment, and they're pretty smart. If they don't know anything, we have student workers all day, 3 student workers and 4 full-time staff, at least from 9 to 5, who can help if they need help.
So Ken, like if they came in one day and did their orientation on the embroidery machine, would they have to do another hour-long orientation to like use a 3D printer?
Absolutely.
Like, is it for each individual machine?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Is that like a big strain on your student staff to have to do all those?
No, they like it. It makes them feel good. It makes them feel important. And we have a schedule. So it's like, one student worker may give an embroidery orientation on a Tuesday morning and a Friday afternoon, and another one may give a audio studio recording on or orientation on Monday evening, and it's varied throughout the week. So they have to sign up for the orientation too, because we only do 8 at a time. You can only fit so many people around a laser cutter, So if somebody can't, if the orientation slots are full, they have to pick another time. But we say on our website too, if you can't make one of the orientations, just email us and we'll try to work with you, because sometimes, no matter how many orientations you have for a particular thing, it just might not work with a student's schedule. And we do orientations for whole classes too, working with instructors outside of that. So, if the fashion department, if they need to learn how to use the laser cutter and they have, 10 students, we might go ahead and just arrange a special orientation for that class.
I found here that the students really enjoy the peer-to-peer experience. So the students that work here really enjoy working with the students that come in that they know they want to make something, they're not quite sure what to use to get there. And then I also observe the students that are coming in really enjoy having a student to ask. It feels, I don't know, less, and not that it's scary, less intimidating maybe, or they feel and I just love when after they make something, and sometimes I always ask them to come in and show me or take a photo so I can see. And I just love and I'm sure all of you can relate to this. I'm used to talking to people who don't run Makerspaces and explaining what we do here. Just love the confidence that it gives students after they've made something. You can just see it. They're just so happy, and I love that. It's like the best part.
Yeah, maybe a question for Ken. Do you have standard curriculum for each of those orientations? So it's standardized, so no matter who is teaching it, they know to run through the set items for the 3D printer or for the audio studio or like whatever it is. And what materials do you use for that, and kind of where's that housed?
We use Canvas technically to communicate with our student workers, though really we found Discord to be like get instant responses if we use Discord. So use Discord a lot to say, hey, check Canvas. But we put all of that kind of stuff up on Canvas for them to use. And, after they've given 3 or 4 orientations and I've been kind of like a satellite and see that they're doing it exactly right, they don't need to draw on that again. We're really lucky when the rotation is such that when there has to be new student workers coming in because other ones are graduating, the ones that are still there help train the new ones. That didn't happen after the pandemic, though. We had to start a semester with 20 new students, and it took us a while to get all caught up. But yeah, that's a standard thing. Everybody's got their own little personal things that they add to it. But yes, there is a standard training nomenclature for each. Safety first. That's always the most important.
Yes. I see in the chat, Dylan asked a question about managing the credit system for 3D printing. Each semester, I guess when students get added to the system, they're assigned 25 print credits. We use 3D Printer OS as our 3D printing system. So students can upload their print jobs from anywhere. It's cloud-based system. And then our makers in residence, we have 2 queues. We have a class queue and a personal print queue. And the class queue gets precedence over the personal prints. And the students, the makers in residence, take the prints in each queue and then send those to the printers when they come in for their shifts. And then they'll harvest the 3D prints off of the plates whenever they're done being printed. We have a labeling system that we created in-house that goes along with the print. So once you move the print from the queue to the printer, we print out a label and we put it in the door of the printer. So it stays with that print until we put it in an envelope. We put the label in the envelope, and then we have a self pickup area in our lobby here where students at UP come to pick up their prints. And then everything else gets taken to the mail office and gets shipped out to the individual Commonwealth libraries, and they get picked up there. And then when students submit a form that asking for more credits, I just go into the system and add them back in, their credits back in. For faculty, to get in the class queue, they send us their class projects for the semester, and then I create a special group with that class, and they get a special class code. So that's how they get entry into that class queue. It's nice because it gives us a very rough estimate of what to expect and when. So we ask for dates that the projects are due. So that helps us try to keep up with all of that.
Nicole, you had mentioned sending out 30 VR headsets. I'm guessing they're like the Quest 2s or something.
Yeah.
How do you keep track of your equipment that you send out? Our equipment that's loanable is completely separate from the Makerspace stuff, and it's all cataloged and in cabinets behind the service desk. And I feel like it's a really good process for keeping track of it. And we don't allow for reservations because we can't guarantee that somebody's going to bring something back on time, and that can really mess you up. So it's because it's cataloged, it shows up in the online catalog, and students can look and see if it's available.
Oh, that's nice. What system do you use? LibCal for that?
No, it's Alma. It's our integrated library system. We catalog it just like a book, like
Oh. Okay. Do you check it out to them then using barcode? That's nice. So currently,
it's also how we can find them if they don't bring it back.
Currently, the headsets we have are for class or event use. So we do have a different Center for Immersive Experiences, CIE, that will loan out headsets to students individually. We will loan them out to faculty, or they're for use for classes or events. And so we're controlling where they go, and we have them broken into like smaller fleets, so smaller groups within the larger fleet. and we've just kind of named them and labeled them like Media Commons 1 through 10 or whatever. And then they have a home base. So it gets tricky because we have different areas even on campus that I oversee, and they get moved around between those areas and then also the campuses as well. So it's not a great, I guess I guess our system is not great yet. We're still trying to like figure out a good system.
That's the same with your LiDAR iPads.
Yeah, we have a fleet of 30 here, and then we have a fleet of 15 over in the Shields building. Sometimes we need to borrow from them to facilitate a 40 person workshop and vice versa. So it's just sort of like we know where they are, where they're at right now. It's not a great, I don't think I have access to the system you have. I don't think we have that here. But yeah, that would be, we really do need some sort of system that would be really beneficial. So we also have like 360 GoPro Max kits that we loan out to students, and just somebody keeps track of it on a spreadsheet, basically.
Does anybody else use the library ILS for checking out equipment?
Hope College does, and we use Alma as well. And we have a librarian that built a LibGuide. So we list all of our equipment on the LibGuide so people can review to see what's available and what it looks like before they check it out. But I think, Nicole, you could probably even use appointment or a Google appointment calendar for checking out some of the stuff that you guys are using. If you don't
Yeah,
have
I'm gonna have to look into that. And Ken, what was the name of that system again?
Well, it's Alma, but it could be any integrated library system. Just check with your cataloging department. I mean, cataloging, actually your library IT department is probably who controls the back end of it. But, you know,
Okay.
you'd have to have cataloging privileges to enter your equipment in. But the nice thing about that is because of LDAP, which these systems connect with the university's student registration and human resources, because you know, faculty and staff can also access our resources. So because it connects to that, you know, we can just swipe a card and it pulls up them in the
Nice.
library system, and yeah, you could, however your books are being cataloged, your equipment could be cataloged the same way.
That would be great. That reminds me of that. I think Lynn asked the question about how do we get integrated into IT. I understand now more where you're coming from. So I'm not a library staff member, I'm an IT staff member. And so we were invited into the library space at a point in time they needed to fill the space. And then since then we've expanded outward, and they really love having us here. So it's a that was an invitation for IT to come into the library, and then we've been building and working enhancing our relationship ever since then. So we're partners in a lot of different ways because we are located here.
That's nice to know. Thank you for the clarification. Because I was trying to think how I could make a case for, you know, we could use some of these funds, but they may not like that very much. So thank you.
Sure. Anything else anybody wants to talk about?
Those of you who, while we're kind of talking about, you know, equipment, checkout and all that good stuff, kind of what do y'all think is your most popular pieces of equipment or most popular spaces to reserve in general?
I can speak for at Penn State. Our the Cricut Maker is like a hot commodity. People see what it does and see how you can make so this part of this mug, how quickly you can make something like this is very appealing. It's like that almost instant gratification. And also we're spinning up I'm working out how to scale this, but the sticker printing kiosk. That's really, really popular as well.
So we probably don't have time for this topic, but I put into the chat asking about like how people approach inclusivity and like getting over that intimidation factor. If anybody has like thought about this a lot, I'd love to chat at some point. So like I'll put my email in the chat, but it's something I think about a lot and I would like to, you know, see what other people are thinking.
Sarah, are you familiar with the power analysis framework that was developed by Dr. Mello and Brianna Marshall?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Maggie Mello and her lab and everything, but I don't think I've seen that particular framework.
I put a link to it in the chat. It is one of the best resources for makerspaces around that topic. It's something that we have worked through. It's a framework with open-ended questions, assessing your space around your equipment, the first impressions of your space, the events, everything related to a makerspace. Framework and resource. It's very flexible. I would definitely suggest looking into that if you haven't already. And you can reach out to me if you have questions about it. We've worked through it.
Great, thanks.
That's awesome. Thanks for that. I'm not familiar with that.
I actually have the book that this is in, and I guess I haven't gotten to that chapter. So yeah, thanks.
I had a question for Sarah on the glow forges. Do you have special ventilation
So we do not have any external ventilation in our space. We hope to fix that with a new space in the next few years. But for now, we're using BOFA AD350 fume extractors with both of our glow forges. They have 3 filters in them, and you just plug it to the back of the glow forge, and then it removes basically everything from the air. And then we also have 2, I want to say Allen Air is the brand, air purifiers that are, honestly, we kind of use those as like a gauge of what the air quality is in the space. I'm not sure they also circulate the air, but the BOFAs were a game changer. We thought we weren't going to be able to have laser cutters in our space because we don't have external, ventilation. And they've been amazing. The filters are fairly expensive, but they do last quite a while. We have like almost constant use of both of our glow forges, and filters will last us at least a few months. So that is I think it's the only thing that's allowed us to have laser cutters.
That's great. Are you happy with the glow forges?
Yeah, I love them.
Okay, cool.
I actually, I have a laser cutter at home. I've worked with Epilogue lasers in the past, and Glowforge is so easy to use and straightforward and fun. And their software that you use to send the files over is not like the best. It's a little frustrating sometimes, but you can always just make SVGs in Illustrator or whatever, Inkscape, and send them over. So I really like the Glowforge, particularly its abilities with photographic images. Like, it is really surprising how well it does with that.
Very cool. We have a Dremel laser cutter that I've been unable to convince risk management to allow us to operate from the library. It's been a huge bummer. I'm continuing to fight the fight, but it's been a long battle. We have both a filter on it. I don't understand what the problem is, but it's hard.
It's hard dealing with university general counsel offices. I've fought that fight too, so
and
it's hard.
Retrofitting a space that it wasn't intended for in the first place that is the real struggle. So
that's our space. I mean, we used to be just like digital scholarship area. So we have carpet, we don't have good ventilation, we don't have good electrical. So
I don't even have a
gotta do what you gotta do.
So it is, I want to be just I see it's 3:30, unfortunately. Like I said, I could do this all afternoon. I did put my email in the chat if anybody wants to follow up and have discussions, or it would be cool to form a working group or something. I don't know if anybody's interested in that. We could get that going, and I always appreciate having other people to talk to in the same space. So thanks everybody for showing up and for contributing to the conversation. And it was nice to talk shop, even if it was just for an hour. Thank you.